My beloved child, everything in your business is a direct reflection of your decisions, and that is something to celebrate. This means you are never powerless, never at the mercy of chance. Every result, good or bad, can be traced back to actions you can adjust. You are the architect, and architects can always redesign the blueprint. Please subscribe to my channel for daily God messages. When you realize you're responsible for every outcome in your business, you unlock a rare and powerful truth. You are in complete control of what happens next. No waiting for luck, no blaming the market, just the freedom to create, change, and improve at will. Type amen if you believe in God. The moment you stop outsourcing blame is the moment you take back your power. If you built the system, you can fix the system. If you made a mistake, you can correct it. In business, this means you can write a new story at any time. Owning every success and failure doesn't mean you're at fault in a negative way, and it means you're in charge. And when you're in charge, nothing is permanent unless you allow it to be. You have the authority to shape your future. Taking full responsibility is like holding the keys to a kingdom. Instead of waiting for rescue, you recognize that you are the builder, the strategist, and the hero of your own story. That's not a burden, it's the ultimate advantage. Type amen if you believe in God. Your business is a mirror reflecting your actions, decisions, and mindset back to you. That reflection might not always be flattering, but it is always useful. If you don't like what you see, you have the rare gift of being able to change the reflection entirely. When everything is your fault, nothing is truly out of reach. You can fix, adapt, improve, and reinvent as much as you need. There's no ceiling when you accept full ownership, only new levels to climb. Type amen if you believe in God. Full accountability transforms setbacks from shame into strategy. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You start asking, how can I make sure this never happens again? That shift is where unstoppable businesses are born. Responsibility is freedom in disguise. As long as you think someone else is in control of your results, you will wait for permission to change. When you know it's all in your hands, you stop waiting and start building. Nothing is more empowering than knowing you are the cause of your business results. It means you can be the cause of even better results. Your future isn't luck or fate, it's the sum of the choices you're making right now. When you take responsibility for every part of your business, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a creator of circumstances. And creators have infinite options. Owning everything, the wins, the losses, the missed chances, gives you full visibility of the game board. You can see the moves you made, the ones you skipped, and the ones you'll take next. That's how you win consistently. Type amen if you believe in God. Accountability is not a punishment. It's the lever that moves everything forward. When you own it all, you also own the power to make it better. Every outcome in your business is feedback, not failure. And when you claim full responsibility, you can take that feedback and use it as fuel for the next breakthrough. When you see every result as your creation, you realize you are a much bigger player in your business than you ever gave yourself credit for. That's not blame, that's empowerment at its highest level. The day you stop blaming external forces for your business results is the day you start operating from full strength. Now, every outcome is something you can directly influence, shape, and improve. Type amen if you believe in God. Taking full ownership of your business is like stepping into the driver's seat of your life. You stop waiting for green lights from others and start steering in the direction you want to go. When you claim total responsibility, the conversation changes from who caused this to what do I do next? That question moves you forward faster than anything else. Accepting that everything is your responsibility removes fear. You no longer have to worry about things happening to you because you know you always have the tools to handle them. The best leaders in business understand that ownership is not a weight, it's a weapon. It allows you to cut through excuses, distractions, and delays and move straight to solutions. When you stop pointing fingers outward, you free up both hands to build. That's how change actually happens, not in blame, but in creation. Type Amen if you believe in God. Owning your results makes you unshakable. No matter what happens, you know you can adjust your actions, your strategy, and your mindset to produce a different outcome. There is no ceiling in business for someone who takes full responsibility. Every problem becomes solvable, every opportunity becomes reachable, every setback becomes a step forward. Full accountability means you are never waiting for permission to improve your situation. You can pivot, experiment, and innovate at will. When you realize you're responsible for it all, you also realize you're capable of it all. That realization changes everything. Taking responsibility means owning your mistakes and your brilliance equally. The same person who created the problem is the same person who will create the solution. Type Amen if you believe in God. You are the single greatest asset in your business and the single greatest risk. When you accept this, you operate from a place of awareness and intentional action. Blame keeps you powerless, ownership keeps you powerful. You will always choose your future more effectively when you're not wasting energy on excuses. Everything in your business reflects your choices, and the best news is you can choose again as many times as you need until you build the results you want. You may not yet be the complete vision of your future self, but you are already living in the dreams of your past self. 2 years ago, you wished for the very things you have now, and here you are. That is proof that your efforts matter, that time works in your favor, and that you are moving forward more beautifully than you realize. It's so easy to see only the gaps between where you are and where you want to be, but take a moment to turn around and notice how far you've come. The version of you from 2 years ago would be amazed at what you've accomplished, survived, and created. That alone is worth pausing to honor. Type Amen if you believe in God. Your life today holds pieces of magic that your past self once prayed for. You've grown, evolved, and stepped into spaces you once thought were out of reach. No, the journey isn't over, but the progress you've made is a beautiful victory all on its own. Even if you still have mountains to climb, remember, the hills you've already conquered were once intimidating too. 2 years ago, you weren't ready for everything you have now, but you worked, you stretched, you grew, and you earned it. There's something sacred about realizing you've become someone you used to admire from afar. You may still be chasing new goals, but you've also already caught so many you once thought were impossible. That is not a small thing, it's a miracle in motion. Your current life may not be perfect, but it's proof of your resilience. Think of the moments in the past when you doubted you could get here, and yet here you stand, embodying growth that once felt out of reach. Type Amen if you believe in God. Every dream you've already achieved is a reminder that your future dreams are possible too. You've built this version of yourself from the ground up, one decision, one risk, and one brave choice at a time. 2 years ago, you hoped to be stronger, wiser, and more capable. Today, you carry those qualities within you without even realizing it most days. That's what growth looks like. It becomes part of you so naturally you almost forget you once fought for it. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, somewhere between the person you were and the person you're becoming, already holding so many of the things you once thought were out of reach. Sometimes progress is quiet. It sneaks up on you until one day you realize you're living in the future you used to imagine. That's where you are right now, standing inside an answered prayer. Type Amen if you believe in God. You have every right to be proud of the person you've become. Your past self dreamed of this life, worked for this growth, and hoped for this strength. Now you're carrying all of that forward into the next chapter. Your journey is living proof that patience and persistence pay off. What felt so far away 2 years ago is part of your everyday reality now. And one day soon, the things you're working toward today will feel just as natural. Even if you still have goals ahead, don't forget to savor the ones you've already reached. You're standing in a place your old self would have been thrilled to arrive at, and that's worth gratitude every single day. Your current blessings were once only ideas, wishes, or distant visions. You have turned them into reality through your actions, courage, and willingness to keep going even when it was hard. You're not at the finish line, but you're no longer at the starting point either. You're in the remarkable middle, the space where past dreams have come true and future dreams are taking shape. Your growth is undeniable. Even if you can't see it in the mirror every day, you are more skilled, more grounded, and more resilient than you were 2 years ago. This is what progress feels like: steady, quiet, unstoppable. Take a deep breath and recognize that the version of you from the past would be so proud right now. They'd be grateful you didn't give up even on the hard days. They'd be cheering for the fact that you've made it this far. You are living proof that change is possible. The life you have today is stitched together with moments of courage, persistence, and faith that your effort would pay off. And it has in more ways than you might notice daily. Type Amen if you believe in God. You've been planting seeds for years, and now some of them are blooming without you even realizing it. Look closely at your life. The beauty, the stability, and the skills you have now were all once just tiny hopes in your mind. 2 years ago, you were preparing for the very season you're in now. You didn't know exactly how it would unfold, but your actions and your resilience brought you here. That's worth more than you may think. The truth is, you've already become a version of yourself that your past self would have admired. You may still be climbing, but you're climbing from a higher place than ever before. Life moves quietly sometimes, but when you pause to reflect, you'll see that you've moved mountains. The strength, wisdom, and opportunities you have today are proof of your progress. Every skill you've mastered, every habit you've built, every challenge you've overcome, they've all brought you to this exact place. You have already become someone your past self would celebrate. The next version of you is still on the way, but this version deserves to be honored too. You've made progress that once felt like a far-off dream, and that's worth recognizing. When you measure your life only against your final goals, you miss the joy of the journey. But when you compare today to where you were 2 years ago, you'll see just how far you've come. The beauty of your story is that you are both a work in progress and a living success. You've reached milestones your old self prayed for, and you're still moving toward even more. Type Amen if you believe in God. Celebrate your evolution. The road ahead may be long, but the road behind you is full of proof that you are capable of achieving far more than you once thought possible. You've already transformed in ways that would have amazed the person you were 2 years ago. And that transformation is your reminder that the dreams you're chasing now will one day be just as real. Look at your life with gratitude, not only for what's coming, but for the fact that you are already living a life your past self would have been thrilled to wake up to. It's okay to break down. It's okay to cry, to let the frustration spill out, to sit with the weight of it all. But when you've given yourself that moment, you face the real decision: stay there or move forward. There will be days when quitting feels easier, when sitting in the pain seems more comfortable than pushing through. But comfort won't change your life, work will. You can let the pain keep you still, or you can let it fuel your next move. You can't control that life has handed you something hard, but you can control what you do with it. You can fold under the weight, or you can use it to build strength you didn't know you had. Both paths are available, only one takes you where you want to go. Tears are not weakness, they are release. But once they fall, you must decide if they will water the seeds of change or wash you deeper into stillness. The choice is always in your hands. Type Amen if you believe in God. There will be moments when it feels like the world is testing you, pushing you to your edge. You can sit in the test and let it break you, or you can rise to it and let it shape you. Both will hurt, but only one will move you forward. Pain demands to be felt, but it also demands to be answered. Will you answer it with surrender, or will you answer it with effort? One keeps you in the same place, the other opens a door you can't yet see. It's okay to stop for a moment, to let yourself grieve what's hard, but if you stay there, the weight will turn into chains. The only way to break them is to start moving, step after step, no matter how small. Every challenge offers two paths, one of stillness and one of action. The stillness feels safe but keeps you stuck. The action feels exhausting but will carry you into a new season of strength. The decision is always yours. The grind is rarely glamorous. It's not meant to be easy, it's meant to change you. The question is whether you will meet the challenge or let it meet the end of your effort. You can complain about the work or you can do the work, but you can't do both at the same time. Your energy will always be better spent building than breaking yourself down. Type amen if you believe in God. When hardship arrives, you can either curse it or conquer it. Both are valid reactions, but only one of them will bring you closer to the life you want. Struggle is unavoidable, but staying in struggle is a choice. You can either sit in the storm or start building a shelter. The moment you choose the latter, you begin to take your power back. The grind will not feel good in the moment. Neither will sitting still in frustration. The difference is that the grind leads to progress, and progress eventually changes how you feel. There will always be reasons to stop. The world will offer you countless excuses to give up. But in the end, you only need one reason to keep going, the belief that your future is worth the discomfort of today. You can let life hit you and keep you down, or you can let life hit you and stand back up stronger. The hit is inevitable. The getting back up is the choice. Your pain can become your prison, or it can become your power. One locks you into the moment you're in, the other pushes you into the person you can become. Crying doesn't make you weak, but stopping there does. Let your tears be the start of the fight, not the end of it. The grind is not the punishment for the struggle, it's the escape route. Every step you take through the work is a step away from the weight holding you down. It will always be easier to stop than to keep going, but easy will never give you the life you've been dreaming of. Hard will. Pain can either be a weight or a weapon. If you pick it up and wield it, it becomes the very thing that helps you cut through obstacles. Type amen if you believe in God. There's no shame in feeling the hurt. There is only loss in letting the hurt have the final say. Your future self will never regret the days you chose the grind over the tears. Those are the days that build the version of you that can handle anything. The choice between stopping and pushing is the choice between staying in the same chapter and turning the page. Every hard thing you've overcome so far happened because you chose movement over stillness. This challenge will be no different. When you're in pain, action feels impossible, but in truth, action is the only thing that will change how you feel. Excuses will never get lighter to carry. The only weight that gets lighter is the one you lift through consistent effort. It's okay to sit with your struggle for a moment, but don't unpack and live there. Your destiny is on the other side of the discomfort. Type amen if you believe in God. Life is going to demand something from you either way, effort or regret. One is temporary, the other lasts forever. You have a choice in every season. Let the moment define you or let the moment refine you. The first keeps you stuck, the second turns you into someone unstoppable. I've reached the place where your actions no longer have the power to affect me. There's no anger left, no urge to argue, no desire to fix what's broken. It's simply not worth the energy anymore, and in that release I found my peace. At some point, you get tired of replaying the same story in your head, the arguments lose their edge, the frustration burns itself out, and all that's left is a kind of calm indifference. It's not bitterness, it's freedom. I used to want explanations, apologies, and changes. Now I just want distance. Not because I hate you, but because my peace has become more valuable than anything you could say or do. Type amen if you believe in God. You stop caring the day you realize the outcome doesn't change who you are. There's no need to control, convince, or correct anymore. It's easier to step back and let it be. The weight lifted the moment I decided it wasn't my job to hold on anymore. I'm not angry, I'm simply uninterested in carrying what was never meant to be mine. It's strange how silence can feel louder than shouting. I'm not ignoring you. I just no longer feel compelled to engage in battles that don't matter. Indifference is not hatred, it's healing. It's the space between knowing your worth and refusing to spend it on what no longer serves you. I don't need closure because the only thing that really needed to close was my willingness to participate in the cycle. Now, I'm done, and that's enough. I've reached the point where winning the argument doesn't matter because I've already won by walking away from something that drains me. I used to have expectations. I used to think you'd change. Now I just have boundaries and I keep them for my own peace of mind. The most freeing decision I've made is to stop giving attention to things that hurt me. Without my energy, they lose their hold over my life. It's not that I'm cold, it's that I've learned warmth belongs in places where it's appreciated. I'm not wasting it where it's ignored or abused. Type Amen if you believe in God. When you no longer care, the power dynamic shifts. What used to control you loses its grip, and you walk away lighter than you ever thought possible. You can't hurt me with the same things anymore, not because they stopped being hurtful, but because I've stopped holding them close enough to touch me. My energy is better spent building something new than trying to fix what's been broken beyond repair. I've found a peace that doesn't depend on other people's actions. That's how I know I'm free. Caring used to feel like a responsibility. Now it feels like a choice, and I choose not to invest in places that keep taking without giving back. The more I let go, the more I realize how heavy the unnecessary was. I don't miss the weight. Type Amen if you believe in God. Sometimes not caring is the key. And tasty thing you can do for yourself. It's how you stop bleeding for things that would never have healed you. I've stopped showing up to battles that don't deserve my presence. My absence speaks louder than my words ever could. It's not apathy, it's prioritization. I care deeply about my life, my peace, and my growth. That's why I no longer care about what distracts from them. At one point, I thought indifference meant weakness. Now I see its strength. It's the ability to walk away without the need to prove anything. I don't need to explain my lack of care. Those who understand don't need an explanation. Those who don't wouldn't understand it anyway. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And in that indifference, I've found the space to love myself more. Every time I stop caring about something toxic, I make more room for something healthy. That's a trade I'll make every time. I've realized my peace is too expensive to spend on things that bring me chaos. That's why I'm not angry, I'm just done. Type Amen if you believe in God. It's not that I can't fight anymore, it's that I don't see the point of fighting battles that lead nowhere. Walking away isn't losing. Walking away is winning in silence without the need for applause. The moment you stop caring about their opinion, you stop being controlled by it. That's when real freedom begins. I'm not mad. I'm not even sad. I'm simply uninterested. And in that space, I've found a happiness I didn't think was possible. When you truly believe that God's timing is perfect, the waiting stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like preparation. You begin to trust that every delay is actually a divine setup for something better than you imagined. Once you realize that God is never a second behind schedule, your heart stops rushing the process. You can breathe, knowing that even in the silence, He is moving pieces into place. Faith changes the weight. When you understand that nothing in your life is accidental and nothing is forgotten by God, you stop watching the clock and start watching for signs of His hand at work. You wait differently when you trust that every closed door is part of the plan. God is not late. He is aligning things you can't yet see so that when the moment comes, it will be perfect. Patience feels lighter when you remember that God doesn't deal in delays. He deals in divine timing. What you call late is often just right on time from His perspective. Type Amen. If you believe in God, the waiting season becomes holy when you understand that it is not empty. It is the ground where God plants the seeds of your future blessings. When you grasp that God's timeline cannot be rushed, you find peace in the pause. You stop measuring time by days and start measuring it by trust. God is never late, but he is often later than your expectations, and that's where faith is tested and strengthened. You learn to rest in knowing his clock runs differently, but it runs perfectly. There's a shift that happens when you stop asking when and start trusting who. The one who holds your future is never late to deliver it. Delays lose their sting when you see them for what they are: divine protection and preparation. The God who loves you too much to be careless also loves you too much to be early. Type Amen if you believe in God. When you trust God's timing, you stop striving and start surrendering. You realize that waiting isn't wasting, it's the process of being readied for what's coming. Faith is learning to live in the gap between your prayers and their answers without losing hope. That gap is where God works most quietly and most powerfully. God's clock doesn't tick like ours. When you understand that, you stop panicking when he seems silent because you know silence is often a sign he's working behind the scenes. The wait becomes sweeter when you realize God is not just preparing the blessing, he's also preparing you to receive it well. When you truly believe God is never late, the waiting season becomes a place of worship, not worry. You stop begging for speed and start thanking him for his precision. Type Amen if you believe in God. You can rest in the knowledge that God's timing is always exact. Even the moments you thought were wasted will turn out to have been right on schedule. The wait transforms when you know it's not just about what you're waiting for, but who you're becoming while you wait. God's delays are not denials, they're divine decisions. Every second of waiting is part of his perfect plan to deliver what you need, not just what you want. When you accept that God's timeline is flawless, you stop rushing to fix things yourself and start trusting him to bring them together better than you could. Faith changes impatience into expectation. You no longer dread the wait, you start leaning into it, knowing something beautiful is forming. The more you understand God's character, the easier it becomes to trust his timing. He has never failed to be on time, and he won't start now. Type Amen if you believe in God. You wait differently when you understand that every minute between the promise and the fulfillment is an intentional part of the story. When you trust God's timing, the pressure to make everything happen on your own fades away. You can breathe, knowing he is already arranging what's ahead. Every delay holds meaning in God's plan. When you truly believe that, you can walk through the waiting with peace instead of panic. Trusting that God is never late means you stop comparing your timeline to others. You understand that what's meant for you will arrive exactly when it's supposed to. The beauty of God's timing is that it makes sense in hindsight, even if it feels confusing in the moment. That's why faith is so important in the wait. You wait differently when you stop asking, "Why is it taking so long?" and start saying, "I trust you, Lord, even in this." Type Amen if you believe in God. When you see God as a master storyteller, you understand that every page, even the ones that feel slow, is building towards something worth the wait. Peace comes when you stop holding the clock in your hands and place it fully in God's. You can't be late to your destiny if he's the one leading you there. The wait becomes a blessing when you understand that what's coming is too important to be rushed. God, is never late. He's only right on time. Type Amen if you believe in God. I didn't change who I am. I changed what I'm willing to accept. My boundaries are not a betrayal. They're a declaration that my peace matters more than keeping anyone comfortable. I didn't wake up one day and decide to be different. I simply reached a point where the drama, the lies, and the games no longer had a place in my life. That's not switching up, that's growing up. I'm still the same person I've always been, but my patience for nonsense has an expiration date, and I finally decided I'm not afraid to let things and people go when that date passes. I didn't abandon anyone, I just stopped entertaining situations that abandoned my peace. That's not being fake, it's being real with myself. I haven't lost my kindness, I've just learned to give it where it's valued. That's why I'm done feeding energy into places that never deserved it. I didn't change my values, I just stopped lowering them to match someone else's lack of respect. That's not coldness, it's clarity. I'm still loyal, still loving, still me, but I've learned that loyalty doesn't mean letting myself be drained or disrespected. I didn't switch sides, I simply stopped standing in places where the ground was constantly shifting beneath me. I'm not colder now, I'm just more careful. I no longer hand out access to my heart without seeing if someone knows how to treat it right. I didn't grow distant without reason. I created distance to protect the parts of me that were being taken for granted. I haven't changed my heart, I've changed my standards, and that's a shift I will never apologize for. I didn't start ignoring people out of nowhere, I started ignoring patterns that I'd been making excuses for far too long. I'm not unkind, I'm just unwilling to keep letting people cross lines that I've clearly drawn. I didn't flip my personality, I just stopped shrinking myself to fit in with situations that didn't honor who I am. I'm still open hearted, but I've learned that love without boundaries is self betrayal. That's why I'm not entertaining anything that drains me anymore. I didn't become cold, I became careful, careful about where I invest my time, my trust, and my spirit. I'm not distant because I'm bitter, I'm distant because I've realized peace requires space from chaos. I didn't turn into someone else, I turned into the version of myself that finally understands my worth. I didn't walk away to hurt anyone, I walked away to heal myself. I'm still the same person, but I've outgrown the tolerance I once had for empty apologies and repeated disrespect. I didn't stop caring altogether, I stopped caring about things and people that don't care back. I'm not hard to reach, I'm just no longer available for conversations that lead nowhere and actions that go against my values. I didn't switch up to spite anyone, I simply started showing up for myself in the same way I used to show up for others. I'm not difficult now, I'm just not easily manipulated. That's the difference some people mistake for a change in character. I didn't suddenly stop loving, I just stopped loving at the expense of my own well-being. I haven't become untrusting, I've become discerning. I know now that not everyone who smiles has good intentions. I didn't cut people off to punish them, I cut people off because I refused to punish myself by keeping them close. I'm not walking around with walls, I'm walking around with gates. And only the right energy gets through. I didn't switch up, I wised up, and wisdom has a way of making your circle smaller but your peace bigger.